1 in 4. That's how many people our age are actively planning to leave the United States within the next 5 years. Not thinking about it, not wouldn't that be nice, actively planning. And honestly, when I first saw that, my reaction wasn't shock. It was, yeah, that tracks. Because here's what nobody in charge seems to understand. This isn't about politics. It's not about one election or one president. This is about a generation doing the math and the math not mathing. The average Gen Z worker makes $33,800 a year. 3 in 5 of us spend more than 30% of our income just on rent. 17% of us have literally $0 in savings, and we're supposed to be excited about the American dream? No, we're rewriting it. Let's start with the data, because this isn't vibes, this is documented. Gallup ran a poll in 2025. 20% of all Americans, not just young people, all Americans, said they want to permanently leave the country. That's the second straight year at that level, which is historic. But here's where it gets wild. Among women aged 15 to 44, that number is 40%. 40. That's up from 10% in 2014. 4 times the increase in a single decade. The Howdy survey broke it down further. 25% of Gen Z and millennials are actively planning to move abroad within 5 years. 16% of Gen Z are already digital nomads. Another 26 plan to become one. And over 2 in 5 Americans under the age of 43, so basically everyone who isn't a boomer or Gen X, said they feel trapped in America. Trapped in the country that's supposed to be the land of the free. Harvard's youth poll painted the same picture from a different angle. 57% of 18 to 29-year-olds said the country is headed in the wrong direction. Only 13% say it's headed in the right direction, and only 19% trust the federal government. 18% trust Congress, and 40% say that they're struggling just to get by. So let me frame this clearly. We have a generation that can't afford housing, doesn't trust its institutions, and sees no path to the life they were promised. And people are surprised they want to leave? Let's talk about why staying in America is becoming a luxury most of us can't afford. Rent in the United States increased 135% between 1999 and 2022. In that same period, income went up just 77%, almost half that. That's a gap that compounds every single year, and it got worse. Rents jumped another 29% just between 2020 and 2024. 4 years, almost a third more expensive. And it's not like we're living large with what's left over. 35% of Gen Z eat out less to survive. 20% have sold their belongings. 18% skip meals. 18% work side hustles on top of their main job. 15% moved back in with their parents. We are the most educated generation in American history, and we're skipping meals. Meanwhile, the average Gen Z member carries over $94,000 in total personal debt. Student loans, credit cards, car payments. Our credit scores just took the biggest drop of any generation according to FICO. And homeownership, 27%. The national average is 65%. We're not even close. Now here's the part that breaks people's brains. The United States spends $14,885 per person on healthcare, the highest in the world on average. Switzerland is second at under $10,000. The average for comparable countries is about $7,300. We spend literally double, and our outcomes are significantly worse. More cost barriers, more administrative blow, $1,000 per person just in admin costs, which is 5 times what other countries pay. So you're telling me I can't afford rent, I can't afford a house, I'm drowning in debt, my healthcare costs twice as much and is worse, and I should be grateful. Or I could move to Portugal. This is where it gets interesting, because the same internet that lets companies pay us less than we're worth also lets us take those wages somewhere else where they actually mean something. It's called geo-arbitrage. Earn in dollars, spend in pesos, baht, or euros, and the math is insane. Let's say you make $4,000 a month working remotely. In San Francisco, your expenses are easily $4,500. You're literally losing money. Same job, same paycheck, but you're in Chiang Mai, Thailand, your total monthly cost of living drops to about $1,000 a month or less. That's $3,000 a month you're saving, over $36,000 a year just by being somewhere else. Mexico City, $1,500 to $2,000 a month for a comfortable life. Medellin, Colombia, $1,200 to $1,800. Bangkok, about $1,500. Valencia, Spain, same range. Even Lisbon, one of the most popular nomad hubs in Europe, runs $1,800 to $2,500. All of these are a fraction of what a major American city would cost you. And these aren't sacrifices. People aren't living in hostels eating ramen. We're talking about a one-bedroom apartment, eating out regularly, co-working spaces, gym memberships, and still saving thousands. The average digital nomad earns about $85,000 a year at the median, which, to be fair, is above the national average in general. The top third makes between $100,000 and $250K a year. At those income levels, living in a low-cost country doesn't just save money, it can cut 7 to 12 years off your path to financial independence. 7 to 12 years. That's not a lifestyle choice, that's a financial strategy. And the infrastructure for this is real now. Over 50 countries have created dedicated digital nomad visas since 2020. Spain, Portugal, Germany, Thailand, Colombia, Brazil, Costa Rica, Japan, South Korea. The list keeps growing. Thailand just launched a 5-year digital nomad visa with 180-day stays. Colombia's visa has a minimum income requirement of just $750 a month. These countries want us there, and they're competing for us. 76% of young Americans say that the new American dream is living where you want and working online. Over half of young Americans say that the new American dream is leaving America. Who would have thought? None of this works without remote work, and COVID didn't just normalize it, it proved it was always possible. Right now, 32.6 million Americans work online. That's 22% of the workforce. Another 24% of new job postings are hybrid, 11% are fully remote, and 98% of workers who have tasted remote work say they want to do it at least part-time for the rest of their careers. 98%. And here's the generational split that matters. 35% of all digital nomads are Gen Z. Another 40% are millennials. Together, that's 3/4 of the entire digital nomad population, and it's growing. The total number of American digital nomads hit 18.5 million in 2025, up 147% since 2019. This isn't a trend, it's a structural shift. Companies tried the return to office push. Some succeeded, but 88% of leaders with hybrid or remote teams have no plans to go back to full in-office mandates because the talent walks, and increasingly, the talent walks to another country. The average nomad now visits about 6 locations per year and stays about 6.5 weeks per stop. The pace is slowing down too. People aren't bouncing from city to city every week anymore. They're settling in for a month or two, building routines, finding their spots. It's becoming less perpetual vacation and more, I just live here now, but here changes sometimes. Here's the part that goes beyond money. The World Happiness Report Index dropped the US to number 24 in 2025, our lowest ranking ever in the report's 13-year history. And if you measure just people under 30, the US doesn't even crack the top 60. Let me say that again. For young people specifically, the US doesn't even crack the top 60 happiest countries. Only 69% of Americans describe themselves as happy in 2025. That's down from 76% in 2021. 2/3 say their financial situation is what's making them unhappy, and 1 in 4 Americans ate every single meal alone the previous day. That number is up 53% since 2003. We are lonely, we are broke, we are unhappy, and we live in the richest country in human history. Meanwhile, Finland's been ranked number 1 for 9 straight years. Denmark's number 2, Iceland's number 3. The pattern isn't subtle. Countries with less inequality, better social safety nets, and actual work-life balance have happier people. Revolutionary concept, I know. The expats and nomads I've seen talk about this always mention the same things. Walkable cities, affordable healthcare that doesn't require a spreadsheet to understand, actual vacation time, and people who don't define their entire identity by their job. It's not that these other countries are perfect, it's just that the baseline they have is higher. Now, I'd be lying to you if I said that it was all upside. It's not. And I think being real about the downsides is what separates good information from influencer fantasy. Loneliness is real. Over 65% of digital nomads report significant periods of loneliness. 43% have experienced depression-like symptoms that they attribute to the lifestyle. Expats report feeling depressed at 3 times the rate of people with stable home bases. You're leaving your friends, your family, your entire support system. That costs something that money can't fix. Taxes are a nightmare. The US is one of the only countries that taxes citizens on worldwide income regardless of where you live. 79% of digital nomad visas offer 0 relief from individual income tax. That means you could owe taxes in 2 different countries at the same time. You need a good accountant. Budget for one. Healthcare gets complicated. Most US healthcare insurance doesn't work abroad. International plans exist, but they're expensive and often exclude pre-existing conditions. If something serious happens in a country with underdeveloped medical infrastructure, you're in trouble. Visa uncertainty. Even with 50+ countries now offering digital nomad visas, the rules change constantly. Visa runs, leaving a country and re-entering to reset your tourist stay are legally gray. Long-term residency is hard to secure. You're always kind of temporary. And the ethical dilemma. Digital nomads, especially in the tech world, can think of other countries as their playground. When you show up with a US salary in a developing economy, you can drive up local rents and prices. That's real, and being aware of your impact can make a difference. This lifestyle isn't for everyone. It's not even stable for everyone who tries it. But for a growing number of people, the downsides of leaving are still far less than the downsides of staying. So where does this leave us? A quarter of our generation is planning to leave. 18.5 million Americans are already nomadic. 40% of young women want out permanently, and the country keeps asking why, as if the answer isn't printed on every rent bill, every medical invoice, and every student loan statement. This isn't a tantrum, it's a rational reaction to irrational economics. The generation that was told, work hard and you'll make it out, did work hard. We got the degrees, we got the jobs, and we still can't afford a 1-bedroom apartment in the city where we work. So yeah, some of us are leaving. Not because we hate America, because America made promises it couldn't keep, and we found out that the rest of the world never made those promises in the first place. They just quietly built something that worked. The new American dream isn't a white picket fence. It's a laptop, a passport, and a one-way ticket to a country where the math makes sense. Whether there's a crisis or an evolution is hard to say. But the reality is that a lot of young people are becoming digital nomads, leaving their home countries, and it's a change that can't be ignored any longer. Thank you guys for watching this video. This is Raw Lens, and I will have you here again shortly.